Today, we're going to chit-chat about a topic that I feel is discussed a lot on my platform, not intentionally, but is like woven through a lot of my content, and people ask about a lot, and that is a village and like the postpartum village, how to build it, how to show up, how to be there for people, what it looks like, all of the things. Because for me, I'm someone who feels so fucking grateful that I have such an incredible village. Like I say this all the time, I could never in a million years do the things that I do without my village, whether, and we'll get into what my village looks like, but like whether that be my family, my friends, our hired childcare, like all of it. And I pride myself on the way that I show up for my friends. And I think that that's a huge part of a village. We think that like suddenly you're just going to have one. Like you have to build a village brick by brick. You have to be the one that's showing up there for people. You have to be the one that's also putting in the work so that those people can then show up for you when you're in need of the help. So for me, I feel like the biggest thing when it comes to the general village, and this is, I guess, mainly focused on postpartum, but like kind of everything, because you rely on a village through many phases of your life, whether it's postpartum or you're going through grief or you're just going through a hard time or you just need support for whatever reason it may be. I find that as a society, we have become so insular, is maybe the word I'm looking for, and we veered away from many other countries in this world of the village mentality. And it's become very much like focus on yourself and that's all that matters. And I hardcore disagree. And I personally feel like the reason I got through the darkest days of my postpartum was because of my village. And I also feel like the reason I'm able to do all of the things I do now is because of my village. And I love nothing more than showing up and helping others when they need help. Like that is my love language. That is the way that I feel like I show up for the people in my life. And that is when I feel the most like of purpose and useful. And I think it's really fucking important. So let's dive in. I'll start by like unpacking my village because I wish that more people were open about support and help they got and how they're able to do the things, especially if you're a quote unquote public facing person. Like I think it's important. So I'm not going to say my husband's a part of my village because he's like the father of the children, but obviously he does more than I do, quite honestly, especially as of late, and we can dive into that, but he is owning a shitload. We deeply rely on both sets of our parents. They are so heavily involved in our kids' lives, and we are so grateful for that. Like I think that there are a lot of grandparents, and there's no shame in this, but some grandparents want to be grandparents. They don't want to be babysitters, and that's their decision. And they're like, this is me. I'm here to like hang out with you and the kids, and then I'm out. Both of our parents want to be in the weeds. And I'm not just saying that because we ask them to be. Like, they volunteer. They want to be in the weeds. They want to spend time with them. They want to take them for a weekend to their house and like have one-on-one quality time, and they want us to leave. Like they are so heavily involved. They're doing the diapers. They know the schedules. Like we are so blessed, and it's such a fucking gift. And I'm so grateful that we live close to both of our parents. We're about an hour from both. And if you're someone who's considering having kids, I know I say this to Lucy and we talked about it in a solo episode, but like really think about where you're moving and be intentional. I'm not saying you have to have family around. I know that's not like the case for so many people, but if it's an option to move near family, it's so beneficial once you have children. So I do think that that should be a factor of like all of the things when you're thinking about where you want to put down roots. So both of our parents, both of my sisters, all speak for them, like one being 15 minutes away, my older sister, and then Lucy being in the city. Like I know I could call them if I needed them to do anything, especially my big sister who's out in the suburbs and like has kids. She, when I was pregnant, would like take our oldest son to go do things. She would just show up and help around the house when I gave birth to our second. Like very, 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 very helpful. And Lucy is too. It's just different. She doesn't have kids yet. Our friends are huge members of our village. Like the list of people that have access to pick up our oldest son at school is so long because there is such a laundry list of people that I could call and be like, hey, I'm running late. Can you go pick him up from school? Or I need a favor. It's an emergency. And I'm also that person on many people's list because I would do that in a fucking heartbeat for anyone. And I think that is something that I get asked about a lot of like, how did you make these friends? Where are you finding these people? And I will get into it, I promise. But having this like, not co-parenting, but it's a true village. It's like parenting alongside our friends and all having access to each other's kids and like being involved in each other's lives is such a gift to not only give our children of having these like friendships with their kids and these adults, but also for me, like so helpful in moments where I just feel like I'm drowning of having people that are able to step in and help and support. And then when it comes to paid childcare, our son's school is a huge member of our village. Like that is literally one of my favorite places in this world. I love that school with my entire heart. And then our nanny, we have a full-time nanny from 8 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday. She is literally my Lord and Savior. She is my queen, my boss, my hero. Like I love her with every fiber of my being and I would do anything for her. And she is a newer addition to our family. I don't know if I really talked about this, but we did end up changing nannies and I'm not going to get into that. But I will say that like finding someone that really fits and works for your family is the greatest gift. And I know that that's a privilege and it's expensive and it's the best money I've ever spent in my goddamn life. So that is my village. And then I think the way that I show up in other people's village is how we can get into like supporting friends. It really depends on like what these people need. And as I mentioned of like, you have to build your village. It's not just going to show up for you. Like people aren't going to show up for you if not that anything is tit for tat, and I really think it's important to not look at things that way, but no one's going to show up for someone who literally never shows up for them. So how are you supporting the people in your life? Whether they live far away, continuously checking in on them. Like every week, there is at least one person I am checking in on of like, hey, thinking of you. How is XYZ going? Whether they just had a kid, whether they were going through something hard with their kid, whether they don't have kids and they just moved. Like checking in on the people and making sure that they're doing okay and being intentional with that and like continuously following up. If they are far away and they're going through postpartum, sending a random ass Uber Eats or Caviar gift card of like, hey, I want to get you lunch. Go have a nice meal or something. Or like, this is for your dinner tonight. Literally delivering food that you know they like. Like my one friend who lives towns away from me, I Googled a bagel shop and was like, hey, breakfast is on me today. Bagels are coming in 30 minutes. Something as simple as that. And I do think that sure, a lot of these things can be monetary, but they don't all have to be. It can be the simple texts, it can be the calls, it can be the check-ins, just the actual like, I'm thinking of you. And to bring it into postpartum terms, so much is focused on the mom when they're pregnant. It's like, how are you? How are you doing? How are you feeling? Take my seat, all of these things. The baby comes out. How is the baby? How is she doing? How is he doing? Are they sleeping? Are they eating well? Like no one cares about the mom anymore. And I get that it's exciting to ask about the baby. You want the baby pictures. You want to know how they're doing. All that is like fair and well, but also making sure that you're checking in on your friend because they just went through truly an earth-shattering moment. The best way that I have found to show up for people, especially after giving birth, is when they are pregnant, towards the end, being like, hey, what's your favorite restaurant that you order takeout from and what's your order? So you have the restaurant, you have the order. They give birth. That next week or so when they're home, you send a text being like, hey, I want to send you dinner tonight. Does that work? They say yes. You already have all of the information you need. You send the dinner. You live nearby, go drop off a meal. Like food is the best way to support someone in postpartum. I will die on that hill. I don't need another onesie. I don't need another baby blanket. I don't need another lovey. What I need is to remember to feed myself. I also, in terms of that video that I was referencing, will send a text, and there's a lot of discourse in the comments when something goes viral of like everyone having their own opinion. This is to be sent after the person has welcomed visitors into their home. I'm not sending this to someone the day after they get home from the hospital. I'm sending it when they're like, hey, we're having visitors, like, and we've already agreed on a day and time. So then I'm saying, I am yours for these hours. Use me how you wish. Here are your options. 1, I sit with the baby and you go sleep. 2, I sit with the baby and you go out to lunch with your partner or on a walk or whatever you want to do. Run errands, just get out of the house. 3, I come over and I clean or I cook or I put groceries away or I grocery shop or I do whatever you need around the house, laundry, while you just simply veg on the couch and watch TV or be with the baby. Or we leave the baby with your partner and we go and have ourselves a meal, or I go walk your dog, or I come over, I bring lunch, we sit on the couch, we hang out. Having like a list of options so that someone can just be like, in that moment, this is what I feel like, is so beneficial as a postpartum person, because everyone's like, how can I help? How can I help? How can I help? It's hard to ask things of people unless they're your sisters. I'm not going to ask my friend to come over and do my laundry. Like I'm just not. But if my friend offers, I'm going to say yes. And I also think that you're so overwhelmed with the 10,000 fucking things that you're trying to do. When someone says, how can I help? It's like, where do I even begin? Utterly, where do I begin? And having that list is so just helpful to look at and be like, okay, this is exactly how you can help, done. Like the person then who is the friend is taking the mental load of actually assisting. And I know that sounds crazy, but it has been the most well-received text I could send people, and I really think it helps a lot. And I know that it's like my dream text to receive as well. So to everyone listening who's in my life, remember this when I have my, hopefully, knock on wood, third baby in the future. So I think that is my preferred way of showing up for people. But even like I'm thinking about the village that I have with my friends. My friend had a procedure recently and I knew that she was like having a hard time. So I just like grabbed her favorite coffee order and a croissant and I showed up and I texted her and I said, hey, there's a coffee and a croissant waiting for you on your front door. Like it doesn't have to be the big things. Or it's like, I know her husband is away for the weekend and our sons are in class together on Saturday morning. And I text her and I'm like, hey, why don't you just stay home with your baby and I'll just come pick up your son and I'll take him with mine to the class. Like it's easy, in my opinion. Like that's a no-brainer. That takes like minimal effort from me to just grab her kid and bring him somewhere. You know, the ultimate one that I say I was given by a friend was like Joe was away at the Super Bowl and it downpoured snow on our house, and one of his friends texted me and was like, his wife, who's my good friend, called me and was like, hey, have you like shoveled your driveway? And I was like, no, shit, like I got to do that. And she was like, okay, I'm going to have my husband just come over and do it. And it's not like, do you want him to? It's like, no, he's just going to come over and do it. Because the second you ask, how can I help? Or what can I do? Or do you want me to do this? People are like, no. I don't know why we're so like prone to turn off help. But when you say like, are you in need of X? I'm doing it. Like, I'm not trying to say like force yourself on people, but like take a little bit of the question out of it so that it's easier to accept the help for the person that you're trying to help. I did ask a lot of you guys for questions, and honestly, like, you would think I prepared for this. Sometimes I really try to prepare for my solo episodes, but life has been fucking insane lately, so I didn't get a chance to. So some of your questions I think are just going to be the flow of the show. A lot of people asked about how to handle like when you feel like you're continuously showing up for someone and they are not reciprocating. And I think this is where you have to have the honest conversation with yourself of like, okay, well, what type of friendship is this going to be? And I don't mean this in a mean way, but like friends serve a multitude of purposes. You could have one really close friend who gave birth around the same time as you. You have kids the same age. You parent similarly. You're in the trenches. Like, that's a text conversation. I'm just putting it in my perspective where like the conversation never starts or ends. It's just throughout the day like, oh my God, I'm going to fucking kill someone, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, look at how cute this picture is. Holy shit, I'm so tired. Like it's just constant stream of consciousness and showing up for one another. And then you'll have a friend that you like to go party with or like go to dinner with or have fun with or go out with. And it's more like, let's enjoy each other's company and have fun and surface level. It's not as deep. Like that's not the person you're calling when you have an emergency. And it's okay to have both of these things. Not every person in your life and not every friend is going to show up the same way as the other. And that's fine. And I think once you accept and take away the pressure that you're like, you can't put pressure on a friendship to be something. They can't all be the same thing. So if you decide this person is continuously not showing up for you, you can try to have the conversation. If it's someone that you want in your life in that deeper way and like you really want them around, you want to be a part of their village, you wish they were a part of yours, and like maybe you don't have other people and so you're really putting many eggs in this basket, you can have the conversation of like, hey, like I feel like I'm continuously showing up for you. Like I would love to just chat on like how you're feeling about our friendship. Like, is there something that I could be doing more of, because I feel like it's a little one-sided right now, and like I don't know if you feel that way. Are you feeling like let down on my aspect of the friendship? Like I am a proponent of having the hard conversations of friendships if you want them to turn into something specific. If you want to remain surface level friends, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing. But I have had many of honest and hard conversations with friends because I love them and I want to maintain this deep relationship. And like either they've let me down or I've let them down. It's happened across the board. And having the conversation of like, I'm saying this out of love because I want to maintain this friendship and I don't want it to be surface level and I don't want it to be like the random check-ins. Like I want to keep you in my life. So I think having that honest conversation of like, I feel like I'm continuously showing up for you and I don't feel like I'm getting the same respect or love back. And is there a reason for that? Is there something we can do? Like, if not, I just kind of want to bring that to your attention. And then I think you see where it goes from there. If nothing changes, then like I think that's kind of their way of saying that's just not the friendship that they can show up for. And again, that's fine. You just kind of have to accept that that's not who the person's going to be in your life. In terms of that same vein, people were saying how to grieve, how you expected someone to show up for you, but they didn't. And this was, for example, their mom. And I think that's really hard, especially when it comes to parents. And I can't speak from a personal experience, but I would imagine just experiencing this on like a friend level, how much deeper it would feel from a parental level of really hoping that they were going to be someone and then them not becoming that would be hard to digest. I do think that, especially as your mom, is 100% worthy of a conversation. And I think that coming at it from a way of, this is how I feel, like, I wish that you did XYZ because it would help me feel XYZ. You know, like more of, you didn't do this or you did this, and more, I wish that I felt more supported by you. And what I mean by that is I wish that you were more interested in being around the kids and helping out or actively checking in on me. Like I feel let down and I feel like you're not there for me when I need you. I, as a mother, would think I would be receptive to that because at the end of the day, you like want your kid to be happy and you want to be there for them in as many ways as you can. Obviously, I can't speak for everyone, but I do feel like that is worthy of a conversation. And I think sometimes we have to accept when people show up and show their true colors. And I don't mean that in a really mean way. I just mean that like people give love in very different ways, and that may not be the way that your mom gives love or the way that she feels that she wants to be involved. And I think that's really hard to digest. But my friend said this recently. We were talking with our other friend about her mother-in-law, and it's like you have to change the channel, because if you're consistently obsessing over this thing and the person isn't changing, you have to just accept and change the channel. Like you have to stop hammering down on this point and move on to something else, because if that person's not changing and you're not changing, you're setting yourself up for failure and continuous obsession over something that's never going to be fixed in that manner. So change the channel, redirect, and like maybe try to find that support elsewhere. The other one was about friendships changing after having a baby. And I think this is related to Village because I think a lot of friendships change because people feel like they weren't supported by certain friends or like their friend didn't show up like they thought they would. And I have a few thoughts on this. I think there's this huge narrative that's like you find out who your real friends are when you have kids. I don't love that. If your friend doesn't have kids yet, they have no fucking idea what you're going through. And I don't mean that in a mean way of like, you could never understand, but they don't know. Like we all go on this apology tour after we have kids to all of our friends that had kids before because we're like, fuck, I thought I was showing up for you. I really thought I cared. I really thought I knew what you were going through. And I had no idea. And I remember vividly one of my best friends who gave birth before me, I like wanted to meet the baby so badly and see her and being like, can I come? Can I come? When can I come? I'm in the city. Like, I happen to be near your apartment. Can I come? Can I come? I would be so annoyed if I were her. Like, reflecting back on that period, like, bitch, leave me alone. But I had no idea. And you really don't know. And I say that because the people who have just now given birth and are potentially let down by their friends who don't have kids, you have to give them grace. Because similarly to you, they can't comprehend what the fuck just happened to you and your life because they have not experienced that yet. So giving these people grace, I also think you have to accept no one cares about your kid as much as you. And I don't mean that in a mean way, but like, why would anyone want to be? I remember someone messaged me once being like, my best friend doesn't really care about like photos of my kid and never, I'm like, duh, it's not their kid. I don't mean that meanly, but like, of course, I want to look at photos of my kids all day and I really care. And sure, I care about my friends' kids, but I don't love them nearly as much as I love my own. And I don't expect my friends to like care about my kids as much as I do. And so giving the friend without children in this instance, grace, and also like maybe some direction of like, hey, like my friend could have said to me when I was being really annoying, hey, I actually like don't want visitors. Like this isn't helpful. I'm kind of feeling overwhelmed by you continuously asking. I will tell you when I'm ready for people to come over. Easy boundary to set. Easy. Or like, you know, how can I help? How can I help? How can I help? Hey, it's actually really helpful if, you know, like maybe every few days, do you mind just calling me and we can talk about something unrelated to motherhood or my kids? Like, I want to know about your life. I want to talk about pop culture, anything to feel like a little bit of a human again because my whole life is now just like focused on this baby. Or can you come over if you're nearby and just like sit with my baby for 2 hours so I can sleep? Like, I'm exhausted. I just want to shower and have rest and time to myself and know that like I'm not going to potentially wake up in 5 minutes because the baby is crying. I also think that friendships evolve, and this is really hard for someone asks like how to be the first of your friend group that has babies. Like, this is hard because some friendships become way closer after having kids, and someone who maybe doesn't have kids can feel forgotten or left out, or like they're not as involved in your life anymore. And part of me is like, this is the natural progression of life. You become closer with people who are in similar life stages, whether it's you're getting married around the same time, or you just had kids around the same time, or you live in the same neighborhood. Like, that is going to give you this common ground that obviously a friendship is going to deepen over. And you're not going to have to put as much effort into this friendship because you're going to be in constant communication or you're going to be relating to things, and it's just easier. And that's the reality. I think that can be such a gift in postpartum of how you can really become closer with people and how relationships can really deepen in that way. And it can be really hard to not forget about old friends or to like continuously put in an effort. But I think that's what it is. You have to continuously put in an effort if you want to maintain those friendships. And that's where you have to have the thoughts, the hard conversations of like, is this a friendship that we're both benefiting from, or is this surface level? And that's fine. We can keep it that way. Do we want to really work towards making this like a deep, intimate friendship? And also, friendships go in stages. As long as there's not like bad blood and something awful happened, like you can weave in and out of stages of a friendship. I like reference this a lot, but my best friend now, we were very close in college. We did not speak for 2 years over some like surface level sorority drama bullshit. Didn't speak for 2 years. She was a really big person and sent me a Facebook message. That's how fucking old we are, sent me a Facebook DM being like, hey, saw you moved to the city, like would love to catch up. We got drinks and it was very much just like, okay, like let's see where this takes us. And now couldn't be deeper in each other's lives if we fucking tried. So I do think that like relationships can ebb and flow. And I'm very open to that because I realize that like we're all going through different shit in our lives, and giving everyone grace in the sense of whether they have kids or not. People are busy. People are busy. People have things going on. They could be really working hard at their job. They could be taking care of their kids. They could be taking care of their parents. They could have family drama that they're navigating. Like they could be dating a ton. They could be having relationship stuff. Like everyone has their own shit. And I do feel that once we have kids, people kind of diminish everyone else's stuff. And I hate that. Like my cousin was just texting me and she was like, I feel like I'm having the week that you're having before Lucy's bachelorette, but mine's after. Like I'm flying to Chicago. I'm going to see Beyonce. And then she's like, but you were like managing 2 kids. I'm like, everyone's busy is different and everyone's busy is busy. And it doesn't have to be this like, well, I have kids, so you'll never understand. I'm so busy. No, we were all busy before kids and we're all busy after kids. And it's a different busy and that's fine. But it doesn't have to be this like, I do feel that the people with kids are a little dismissive. And I gotta say, I think it's kind of fucked up. Another one in terms of friendships is how to build a village when you're in a new place and you don't know a lot of people. So we moved to Jersey 2 years ago and didn't know anyone in our town. And I feel like I have some guardian angel looking out for me because I have truly been so blessed with the community that we have built. Part of it was such luck, and I actually had her on the show in my friendship series, Ashley. Like, we moved into the house literally next door to her. She just walked up our driveway when we were closing and was like, hey, I'm Ashley. I'm your neighbor. Like, what's your name? And we just are very similar people. Like, she's basically my age. We both played lacrosse in college, like very, very similar. And that's been such a gift. And she had friends there. So, like, I kind of joined her, like, neighborhood group. And then I think so neighborhood, like introducing yourself, people at the park, on walks, like I'm doing it all the time. And I do, it's weird, but like everyone's looking to meet people and you can meet people and it could be like, hey, how are you? Okay. Yeah. Maybe get coffee and it's not your person. That's fine. I've done that plenty of times. You don't have to become best friends with everyone you get coffee with. It can just be a coffee, but being open to that. Another way for us, a huge way, and this is the only time I will be like very grateful for my husband's love of golf, is he made so many friends through golf. And all of these men happen to have wives that I really love. So like, what a fucking gift. And he would come home and talk about all these guys. And I would kind of be like, okay, can you get the vibe? Like, what do you think their wife is like? Like, get a general gut check. And then I forget how it eventually started, but we did like, I guess it was a few double dates and then we were all together. And then I happened to give birth at this, like within a week of 2 of them who were also actually in the friendship series. And again, I think that shared experience of like all going through pregnancy together, all going through postpartum together, spending our maternity leaves like inseparable and doing so much together built this shared ground and like foundation of our friendship that was like a fast track. It was kind of like COVID relationships where I feel like people would be dating in COVID for like 2 months and it was as if they've been dating for like 5 years. And that's how I felt the friendship was, because postpartum friendships are kind of like that. It's just like all of a sudden you know everything about this person and you were like in the weeds with them. And that is how those people were. And through them, I've met their friends. And it's kind of like this like spider web of like, oh, you know this person and oh, you should meet them. And connecting all of these dots. I've also met some wonderful people through my son's school. And I think that's a great way to meet people, whether it's just like in drop off. Like I'm always introducing myself to people at drop off because I know their kids from stories that my son is telling me, or like when I'm in the classroom, like I'm talking to them. So introducing yourself, we have like a WhatsApp for his entire class that you can like easily set up play dates, doing any of those things. Like I know every school is different, but like ours sets up these like parent events. I'm really not good at going to them, but it would be a great place to meet people. Doesn't doesn't even have to be school. It can be classes. Like our younger son is in classes and I'm not really taking him. Our nanny is. But like when I used to do that with our first son, I would meet people there. Again, like that's how you're going to meet someone who's in a very similar stage of life as you. And it's intimidating and it's weird. And it kind of feels like dating, even though I've never really dated because I've been with Joe for so long. But it's a little bit of this like vibe check. I saw the funniest fucking TikTok that was like saying the different stages are like, what was it? It was like, oh, you meet someone at a park and that is like first base. And then you get a coffee date and that's like second base. And then you like go to dinner and that's third base. And then you like get drunk together and that's a home run or something. And like at each base, you're finding out different things about people, right? It's like, oh, you have kids the same age. Oh, okay. Like at the park, like nice. Yeah. Surface level. Coffee's like, oh, what are you doing for work? And then eventually you're getting into like politics and you're like, okay, are we going to vibe? Like, what's the deal here? Do we like deeply disagree on some things or are we good to go? And once you hit home run, then, a friendship has started. But I feel like those are the best ways that I have connected with people. And then I selfishly brought so many of my friends to my town, which, I mean, doesn't get better than that. My best friend from college and my best friend from growing up, I convinced to move into my town. So there's a built-in village right there. But I also think that finding, like, at some level, I forgot about Facebook. At some level, someone in your life probably knows someone who either lives near you or knows someone who lives near you. And like playing that kind of spiderweb connect the dots can be like the first, simplest, easy entry point. I've gone on so many coffee dates with people who are like, hey, my friend's sister is moving to your town. Can I give her your number? She doesn't know anyone. I'm like, sure, of course. Happy to help, like happy to give doctor recommendations, happy to give school recommendations, like all of the things that you need, a nail tech, like all of the things that you just need when you're moving somewhere new. Also, Facebook groups. I went through a phase of like being deep in our town Facebook groups because I just loved like watching them. I did do a post recently because I just need a good chicken salad and I cannot find one. And I just miss Olives in Princeton so deeply with every fiber of my being. But there are so many Facebook groups for towns. And then also there's so many like specific Facebook groups for new parents in towns. Like I remember I was in one for my town for like 2024 babies. And that was helpful to be like, I mean, I gave away so much shit in that group of like, hey, we're done with this. Does anyone want to pick it up? Because I knew that there were people who like needed those exact items. But there were so many people in these groups being like, who wants to go on a walk tomorrow or go to the park or whatever. And it's such an easy way to meet people. You can also check out, we have a mom's Facebook group. I think it's still called Freckled Foodie Mamas. I'm not like in it. I'm in it, but I'm not like posting in it or anything. It's just for the community. And you can say, hey, I'm moving to XYZ or I live in this town. Does anyone else or does anyone know someone? I'm looking for people to like hang out with. Moms are like so willing to hang and to like help each other, I find. And if they're not my type of mom. In terms of other like mom, quote unquote, friends, how to navigate friendships with different parenting and lifestyles. I was thinking about this recently and I do feel like most of my friends parent similarly. I can't think of any like stark difference. However, not everything is like the exact same. And I think that it's just this like mutual agreed upon respect for each other that like we know what's best for our kids. Like some of us breastfed for a whole year. Some of us went straight to formula. Doesn't fucking matter. Literally doesn't matter. Some of us did baby-led weaning. Some of us didn't. Doesn't matter. Some of us like, unless like I just wouldn't be able to be around someone who was like cruel to their child. Obviously, I don't think that's a parenting style. I think that's just like wrong. But every other like parenting style thing, like I'm thinking about like breastfeeding, baby-led weaning, like sleep training, like my friends all run the gambit on that. It's like some are very structured. I'm laughing at my one friend who like, and we joke about this all the time in our group chat, like she is like the sleep training queen. She will have you on a schedule. She will like lock you in. She will be your coach. And we joke in the chat, like, she knows that I'm not like that. Neither of us judge each other. Neither of us care at all because there's no judgment. She's doing what's best for her kids and I'm doing what is best for my kids and my family. And it doesn't have to be the same thing. So I firmly believe that, like, everyone is going to parent differently because every kid is different. I parent my 2 kids differently. And letting people do whatever the fuck works best for them. Like, I honestly don't have enough time to think about the way that other people parent their kids. I don't have the interest in it. And therefore, I also don't think about anyone judging my parenting style because I'm like, I know what works best for my family. And I think agreeing on that, like, mutual respect for each other. And, you know, we say this all the time, like, even my sister and I, when we're together, if, like, her son's at my house or we're at her house and, like, my kid wants something that her kid has, and I'm like, okay, every house has different rules. You know, sometimes he'll be like, well, he's allowed to do it. And I'm like, this is their house. Those are their rules, not mine. Every house has different rules. I say it all the time. And that's fine. And just accepting that. Again, I think, like, I don't think I could be with friends with, I think, like, the one boundary would be more like when it gets to, like, political stuff. Like, I can't be spending time with, like, the Trumpies. I can't, like, personally. So, like, I guess that's, like, the one boundary personally I would set. I think we just, like, would disagree wholeheartedly as people on everything. But I think, like, different parenting styles and lifestyles, like, everyone's going to do things differently. Someone else asked, how do you build your inner circle when all the moms that you know are just burnt the fuck out? Girl, I feel you. I literally sent a text to my group chat of mom friends in my neighborhood this morning and was like, I feel like I haven't seen or talked to any of you in so long. How are we all doing? And all I got back was the meme of, like, this person drowning. And I'm like, okay, so we're all on the same page. And that's where it's also, like, the acceptance that we're all doing shit. Like, I'm not expecting to talk to all of my friends 24/7 and constantly having them check in on me and constantly know what they're doing and seeing them all the time. Like, everyone is busy. So setting that standard. Also, the way that I socialize with my friends, oftentimes, like tonight I have a girls' night, we're showing up in sweatpants and we're just getting high and sitting on a couch. And, like, that is my version of restorative girl time. Right now, I'm not in the phase where it's like we're going and catching up at nice dinners in the city and having late nights out. Like, that's not of interest to me. And so we're going to lounge and have very low standards, okay? Finding people that meet you where you are. So for me, meeting me where I am is like, hey, I miss you. I love you. Can we go on, like, a 20-minute walk just to catch up? And that is, like, what we're doing. And that's enough. We're all fucking tired. We're all burnt out. We all have so much going on. And I think that makes it really hard to build the inner circle when there's a foundation. It's easier to, like, show up kind of, like, haphazardly. It's harder to build. I would say you kind of have to prioritize it a little bit in the beginning. You have to prioritize your friendships, in my opinion, and it takes work. Once you have that foundation built, you can pull back a little bit of just, like, the reality is that life is busy and, like, I'm not going to see you or talk to you 24/7, but I still love you. And if you have that foundation, it's fine. Everyone understands. And also, friendships are seesaws. I say this a lot, where one person is going to have a lot more going on, and it's not a competition, but, like, the other person can do more of the checking in. The other person can do more of the planning. The other person can do more of the support, and it's going to constantly ebb and flow. And that is how life works. Going back for a second to grandparents, someone asked, how do you approach boundaries with your parents' new role as a grandparent? I'll plug the episode that my mom came on and we did, like, a full boundary grandparent episode. And I actually think I'm going to have my dad back on the show to talk about some other stuff, but maybe that'll come up. My mom likes to joke that her kids are like, well, me and my older sister are the queen of boundaries. And it's like, how many fucking boundaries can you set? And a lot is the answer, I guess. But the thing is, it's all coming from a place of, like, I think the older generation has a harder time with all the boundaries we're setting because they weren't able to ever set them. Like, it wasn't accepted for them to do it, and they just had to kind of take it. Like, I remember when it came to the holidays and I was like, I really want this. Like, I want specifically, I was very specific on what I wanted around the holidays. I was like, I don't want to be moving around a ton. I don't want to be just like in the car going from place to place to place and never feeling settled. And they were like, my mom and her sisters were like, well, we used to pack up the car and do that. And I'm like, yeah, and you hated it. So just because you did it, why do we have to do it? It's like hazing. People are like pledging. People are like, well, I got pledged. No, you don't. You don't have to make the next person do it. So it's all coming from a place of like, everyone just wants to be happy. Okay. And I think with boundaries, it's figuring out what is the most important thing to the other person. Holidays, for example. My most important thing was that I didn't want to feel like I was constantly bouncing around. And we asked my mom, what is your most important thing? Like the one thing that you really want. And we will try to make that happen. And we said the same thing to my mother-in-law. What is the one thing that is like the most important to you? How can we make that happen? So that everyone gets like a piece of the pie that they want. In terms of other boundaries around kids, I mean, I feel very blessed that my mother-in-law and my mom and my father-in-law and my dad, but I'm talking more about, I feel like boundaries more with the moms in the life, are so respectful of my boundaries and also very much like turn to me as the mom. Like, they know, like, if I have a specific way that I like to parent, they try to do that. And they're very receptive to that. And they aren't like judging me or making snide comments or any of it. My mom and I will more so like butt heads and joke around about it. But at the end of the day, I know that like she does respect me as a mom and does like let me take the lead on things. I think the biggest thing when having these conversations is this is how it makes me feel. I just had a boundary with my mom recently that the conversation is coming back around, so we'll have to do it again. But it's like when I say, I really don't want this, it really overwhelms me, I don't like it, whatever, and you still do it and say, I know you don't want this, but I had to, that's just selfish. Like, that makes me feel like you're not listening. That makes me feel like you don't care about my emotions. That makes me feel like whatever I say doesn't matter and you're just going to do whatever you want. And coming at it from that way, and it's about clothes. It's about like the way she wants my kids to dress and was like getting all these clothes for Easter. And I was like, I don't fucking want it. I don't want it. And to her, I think it seems like, well, it's not that big of a deal. I like, these clothes are so cute. I'm just going to get them for them. But I'm like, you're not listening to me. And so when I put it in those words, it actually like got through to her. And I think so much of boundaries can be either really poorly received if it's just set up and there's no explanation. And I'm not talking about like if there's a ton of turmoil and you really need to protect your peace. I'm saying this in just like a smaller scale of boundaries. Or I think that they can be set in a way that like are very intentional, very meaningful. There's a reason for it. And you're respecting everyone's emotions. And hopefully then they're better received. Sometimes I can feel like an asshole. I'm not going to lie. And at the end of the day, I'm trying to do what's best for truly everyone, because I know if I don't set my boundaries, I show up as a worse version of myself, not only for my kids, but also then in my relationship with specifically my mom. And then it just hurts everyone. And then I'm like, I don't want to be this way. I don't want to be fighting with you. I don't want to be saying these things and I don't want to be yelling and I don't want to do this. And if I set a boundary, typically it allows me to show up as a better version of myself. Okay, well, those are my thoughts on villages. I think that I feel that it's been imperative for me in my journey as a mom. I also recognize that I am so fucking blessed to have the village I do. And I also believe that a lot of the reason why I have the village that I do is because I am a member of other people's villages. That is the greatest gift I can give someone. It's what I love doing the most, is showing up and helping people. And I'm doing it out of a place of like, I want them to feel loved and cared for and make their life easier. And I think that all comes back around. Villages are built brick by fucking brick. They don't just show up. So you have to put in the work to expect the help back. That's the episode. Thank you all so much for listening. If this resonated with you or if you enjoyed, share with a friend. I've been loving how much you guys are loving the 300th episode, the mom tips, tricks, and hacks and all of that. And people are like, I've shared it with every mom text group I have. Kindest words you could ever say. Rate, review, subscribe, all of the things. I don't think I have any more announcements, but I'll see you next Wednesday or whenever you listen to the next episode.